Oh, there's a few stragglers coming in. Chris, are you one of many, the hordes of people that are coming? That was just wishful thinking, wasn't it? Completely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Before we get started, I want to thank you all for sticking around on day 2. I know it's a bit graveyard to listen to us talk, and yeah, thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. It is the proper graveyard shift we've got, isn't it, Chelsea? But it's lovely to be here to talk about closing the literacy gap. So I'll let Chelsea crack us on. Start us off.
Yes, again, thank you everyone for being here. From my perspective and what I'm seeing, one of the biggest challenges facing project controls isn't necessarily AI itself, but more about understanding the gap between AI adoption and workforce capability. What we're seeing is that we're rolling out AI faster than ever before. It's coming in hot and heavy, but we don't always have the understanding behind the tools that we're using. And without that understanding, how are we able to use them safely or responsibly? How are we able to maintain that we've got compliance and governance around these tools that we're using? Which is what we're focusing on today. Looking at the slide here, I've got a nice picture of iRobot. Show of hands, is this still your perception of AI? Are we still thinking about that fear of using AI? People, robots coming over and taking over our jobs.
Taking over the world.
Yeah, Skynet.
Absolutely.
What's our thoughts? Yeah? Yeah? Still got quite a bit of fear around using AI? Who uses AI every day in their work? Oh, OK.
There might be preachers that converted, mightn't we, here then, really?
Quite a few then, which is great. It's great that you're able to do that. Who feels safe? Do you know what the tools are working on underneath? How would you know if it was right? Would you?
Is that where the trepidation sometimes comes? Maybe from not you, that's really poor English, from necessarily from you, who may be a little bit more able or wanting to use AI, but do you think that is a fear that exists within our community? Actually, I don't really know how to use it, or I work in a regulated environment. I can't touch it. They won't allow it. They've blocked everything.
Yeah, well, gosh, how many times I hear that, but Copilot's still available.
Yes.
But we won't use it because we've blocked everything. Yeah. And we see that more often than not. There's a massive fear of use around using AI, about safety, about knowledge, about being able to just be adventurous with it as well. And there's a lot of distorted knowledge and understanding there. But that misunderstanding and not that full conception of what's happening underneath creates it can create quite a lot of risk, but it can also create a lot of opportunity. The problem with AI is that's where bad adoption comes from. There's no point in rolling out a tool that no one's going to use because they're too scared to use it, which is where this AI literacy gap comes from. You wouldn't give someone a P6 licence and go, there you go, would you? So why would you do the same thing with an AI tool? Absolutely. AI is already here. It's been here for a while and we're seeing it more. It's rolling out quite a lot. It's already changing project controls and it's already in these many different areas, in so many more examples than we've got listed here, but we're not here to list off all the ways that AI is being used. But it's here and it's accelerating so fast that if we don't get it right, if we don't have that understanding, then adoption can fail really quickly. Yeah. Let's talk about the actual literacy gap then. As we mentioned, AI adoption is racing so fast. There's tools coming out left, right and centre. And it's amazing. The ability there is absolutely incredible. The problem is that the competence, where we're growing in competence, the governance isn't keeping up. The compliance isn't there. We're losing value. So we're able to use the tools. We can type a prompt, we can read an output, we know what's happening there, and then we can move on. What we're missing is actually being able to understand what AI actually is and what it's not. There's still so much hype around AI. The knowledge or the misunderstanding that it's a magic pill. Oh, we'll just get an AI solution. But without actually knowing what it is, what the different types are, what specifically we're working with, how can we know what the risks of that particular thing is? How can we know if what we're looking at is actually right? How can we validate an output if we don't understand how it works? And this is the literacy gap. It's about being able to choose the right job, the right tool for the job. It's about being able to interpret our results critically, especially when something's off, or even knowing how we spot when something is off, and being able to understand accountability. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, if something is wrong, it's not an AI model that's getting hauled into a meeting. It's a person with a job. So if the answer is, oh, well, the model spat that out and I ran with it, it's not on the model, it's on you who validated it. Okay, how did you check that? We need to be able to be aware of how we do these things. So again, just a little bit of participation. If you was to rate your AI literacy 1 to 5, where would you place yourself?
2.
2? Yeah?
2.
Fair.
What makes you say that? What kind of things have you been dabbling in, Nigel, to kind of say, actually, I'm at that lower end of the yeah? So what's stopping you? Is that the million-dollar question? Apprehension.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, opportunity and apprehension. I think that's quite a common thing, that apprehension, isn't it? That nervousness.
I think it can feel really overwhelming as well. It can feel really technical, and maybe I don't have the ability to understand it. Maybe I don't code. How could I ever know that if I'm not a technical person? But it's not about being technical.
Yeah. Anyone have very small children?
Yeah.
Do they code at school?
No, but they do have after-school clubs.
Yeah. It frightened me the first time my youngest child came home saying, we've been coding moving lion Lego things in school, and it makes me feel like, am I going to become irrelevant as well? If I don't get on this bandwagon, but it's not a bandwagon, am I going to become irrelevant? But I share some of the apprehensions around how we use it safely at the
absolutely.
end of the day.
Well, my daughter was coding more in primary school from her classes than I was doing in my degree. And I was like, I'm obsolete. She came into my own workforce and gave a presentation about how she wanted to be a game developer. And most of the people in there who were data engineers had no idea what she was talking about. She was ahead of people out who were working in that as a career. And that absolutely blew my brain. Absolutely blew my brain.
Does the pace of change influence how you view your literacy? Yay, nay?
Use it.
Yep.
So you
Yeah.
outside the box and how you're going to use it. Do some vibe coding. The tools are very good, but just don't be frightened. Just get in.
Just get stuck in.
Absolutely.
The thing is with regulated industries, and especially on some of the projects that we worked at, is the concern is that compiling data sets that quickly exceeds the classification. It goes from official sensitive to top secret, and that's where the concern is.
Yeah.
They need to look at the processes in place as experts to success.
Absolutely. I think you might have some answers to that, though, maybe, those concerns.
So does Stephen. He wrote a book on this topic. Funnily enough, we should have him up here.
I think, as they come and... yeah.
Completely right, though.
Yeah.
So the importance of it, so we talked about the literacy gap then. What can go wrong without literacy? If we're not aware of how AI fails, how can we spot it? And if we're reporting on it, what can we do about it? There's many different areas in things like, with the stretches further beyond this, but just a couple here. On the model side, we have things like hallucinations. AI wants to answer. It wants to provide you a nice answer. It's using pattern detection on words to guess what the next word might be, which means that sometimes it's not always correct. Sometimes it makes up a source. But if we don't know how to spot that, we don't know whether what we're getting back is correct information. We have things like drift, data drift, model drift. If our environment has changed, the way that the model works might have changed. Again, if that's not being monitored, if we're not looking out for it, then we're not aware that it's happening. It can happen so slowly that we started from something that we started trusting and maybe using over our own judgment. Now we don't know that that's moved. And if we don't know that it's moved, how do we know if we can still trust the output? Which all comes down to monitoring in that aspect. If we're not monitoring, if we don't know how to monitor, if we don't even know what we should be or what we should be monitoring or how we do that or how we provide feedback, then these things really come into make big action. On the human side, we have things like user error, using the wrong tool for the job. Maybe we shouldn't be using AI in that context at all, not providing the context, or using that AI tool out of the context that it should have been used in. Things like maybe not knowing enough about prompt engineering, or how you type the best prompt to get the right output, the right response. if we don't have that awareness, if we don't have that built, then how do we know we're getting the most out of AI that we should be? And how do we know that we're using it in the right way? Which really comes into force when we think about how AI tools are being rolled out across organisations. We're pushing it out onto workforces of people who maybe still have that hesitation around using AI. Maybe are still scared about it. Maybe don't really know if they can trust it or not. How can we really have a successful adoption if we don't have the understanding and the literacy behind it? What I find really interesting about AI literacy is it's not actually a core competency in a lot of regulated authorities yet. We're still behind. We're not quite there yet. So if the rest of the world isn't quite there yet, how can we expect our workforce to be without providing a structure for that?
I think in addition to the hesitancy, sometimes there are individuals within our organisations that are a little bit too gung-ho with how they might use it and not be in a safe environment where they're prompting the right things at the right time for the right output, and just kind of some of those kind of the model side comes into that human side, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, understanding what looks right, feels right sometimes as well. The things that we do before AI, if I got a cost report, I'd look for it and I'd scan what looks right, feels right. No difference, is it? Wouldn't have thought so. But we just have this mental blocker, don't we, I think, sometimes doing that.
Sometimes, yeah. Or, on the opposite side, we can be too confident. Yeah. We can think, I've been using AI for years, I know all about it, but maybe you don't.
Yeah.
So it works both ways. It's not just about the fear. We can have an overconfidence, and if we've got an overconfidence, we're more likely to rely on an output without it being checked. But who's accountable? How do you know? Do you know if it's being monitored? Who's asking the questions? Does anyone know the questions to ask? If you have a vendor come in to build you a solution, do you know what questions to ask of them? The hype and the truth. How many times have we seen advertising, out-the-box solution? It really reinforces this hype of AI sometimes being just a magic pill. It's a magic do-all. It's going to fix everything. Oh, we'll just get AI. It's going to fix everything. But how much do we actually know about what it actually does? How much do we know about what that's doing? We have this conception that if an AI comes in to do a particular task, that's someone's job. What we're not understanding enough is that that's always going to require human judgment. That's always going to require someone's input. It's always going to require someone to be accountable. The second thing there is what you put in, you get out. If you're working on rubbish data, with maybe data with full of biases or data, outdated data, poor data quality, what you're going to get out is not going to be something that you should ever think about trusting, because it's not going to be a great output. And if you're using that output and you're trusting it, maybe if you've got an overconfidence, what are you reporting back? The organisation might start making decisions that are highly detrimental, and I've personally seen that happen firsthand for an organisation I used to work for who went into administration due to bad reporting. And it was catastrophic to see, and I didn't like not getting paid. But yeah, I mean, again, if you've got no understanding of your project or of the AI that you're using or how it works, how do you report on it? How can you confidently use it?
And
is it even right to use?
Hasn't it, today, with a lot of the AI kind of talks that we've had, is about context. Context is king, isn't it, always with these things?
Yeah.
And I don't think you'll ever need to lose, well, you should never lose that, because that provides the insights that you need.
Absolutely. And I think as well, I mean, especially we're seeing it within regulated, as we mentioned earlier, within like high security regulated organisations, there's a lot of fear about whether it's even safe to use. But there's a massive difference between public AI and enterprise AI within how they're built, the security, the tenants. There's so much more we can delve into. I mean, I wish we had the time to teach you all about that today, but we don't. But and when we're saying AI can be used safely, absolutely, especially within enterprise. Copilot only has access to what you have access to. If your security is in place and your tenancy, we can start rolling these amazing things that we can use out across organisations in a safe way if we've got the knowledge. But we need to have the knowledge there to be able to use it wisely and responsibly in the first place. Governance can't keep up, no. So and again, when we speak about governance in this sense, it's okay having a policy. You might have a workplace policy, but if you what I'm finding is those policies can become decorative PDFs. They're not necessarily something that a random person in your organisation, Sally from accounts, is going to log in and search on SharePoint for this AI policy that's being put out that no one knows about and scan and read through it. This is why that literacy matters so much as well. When we talk about things like the EU AI Act, that's still coming into force, but we're already rolling it out and scaling it across organisations, but we don't yet have a full regulation on it or full compliance, which to me is quite scary. And especially when we think about how many organisations are rolling out AI in many different tools of many different uses, but there's not the regulation there yet or the compliance. And if it's not there in the world or it's still coming into force, how can we expect it to be there in workforces? How do we expect, again, Sally from accounts to think in that accountability sense and that compliance and that governance sense if it's not yet a regulated thing, it's not part of core competencies, for etc. We can't. The AI capability in use is all about being accountable. It's about being explainable. Can you explain your outputs? Can you explain your decisions that you've made using AI? Are you able to be consistent in your capability? The Act itself, the EU AI Act, it sets the floor, but again, none of it can be met if we don't have the literacy. That's why I think that capability needs a pathway. We need to work through from foundation up to application, governance, implementation. We've got all these different steps which builds up capability maturity. And that's what we need, especially when we're moving through a world who is powering through AI like it's the new hot thing, which, again, I don't think is a bad thing. AI is... Some of the tools out there are incredible. I rewrote a full presentation with, well, thanks to our Yash and his skill that he built. It would have taken me hours to redo the branding of a presentation, which I did in minutes thanks to AI. That's amazing. That saved me hours that I can focus on other directions. But again, when we come down to it, we need that pathway. We need a capability uplift. We need upskill in being able to use these things safely and responsibly, which is Movar applies. So we saw this gap. This is what we're doing to close it. We've built a capability pathway. As you can see on this screen here, it starts at that foundational level, foundation in data and AI. We move through into specialised areas of each of the project controls, up into general practitioner, up into leader, making sure that we've got a role-based pathway to make sure that everybody who's working in project controls is using it safely, securely. They know accountability. They're able to use these tools in a way that they can then become the leaders in adopting them. And ultimately, good adoption is good understanding. Without it, we can't really trust what we're doing or trust our workforce. So we have 8 stackable courses here, as you can see, a structured pathway, and at the top there, we've got our leader. Yeah, so built entirely for project controls.
But we know not all training is equal. We all deliver training on a day-to-day basis, don't we? Whether that be just mentoring somebody in the workplace, whether that be showing somebody how to use a cost tool or whatever it is. We need to make sure that training in the project controls space is credible and how we set those standards. And this is where we're kind of working with Movar to think about how we really accredit training programmes and how we can do that from a controls and skills perspective.
And thank you again.
Yes, absolutely. So, hot off the press, we are going to be launching a robust accreditation of training providers, trainings, courses, whatever that may be, based around sort of 7 key pillars that link into everything that Chelsea said. It's not just about sitting next to somebody saying, showing them how to use Copilot or what have you. It's all the other things that go within it. Think about how we design and develop programmes to make sure that they're actually meeting those industry requirements and needs. If the need's not there, why? Why bother? Mm-hmm. So what does that look like? How are we making sure that they're credible as well? Mm-hmm. Align them to those professional standards that we are looking to, whether that be regulations or regulatory requirements. Making sure that that learning experience is spot on as well. I think we've all been to training, perhaps, where we thought, yeah, this hasn't been great. Or there's been training where you think, do you know what, I feel so inspired, I can walk away, I feel equipped to know what I need to do. So making sure that we're looking at testing that learning experience, making sure we're focusing on engagement and the development of those knowledge and skills. Assessing how we assess and validate information that comes back. How do we know that people are learning and are developing? That is one of the things that we need to test of anybody who puts in a training package. Dee and I, we all learn very, very differently. You know, gone are the days of being sat in a school learning times tables by rote these days. You know, how do we get that into adult education sector? How do we get to those people that are more tactile learners, that maybe have neurodiversities? How do we ensure that those programmes are counter for everybody to make sure that everybody can have the same outcomes as a result of that training? QA. Everyone's favourite word, isn't it, QA? But it's so important. How do you make sure that you are delivering a quality product? How do we factor in continuous improvement to those things? And then also, who's capable to deliver that training?
Yeah.
Have we got the right people with the right knowledge and experience delivering those training programmes? So this is how we make sure that we're going to set standards to allow training accreditation, which is really, really important. You know, when we go through our own personal development, we like that big sticker that says we've done a good job, don't we? And that is what training accreditation can do. It gives that big badge to say, this programme stacks up, it's credible, it's reliable, it's got the right outcomes, and that allows you to ensure that you are delivering good quality, but also supports any organisation to sell those skills. And I don't just mean in a very kind of commercial way, but actually pay it forward as well. How do we do all of these things? Just because we're doing something to build up an experience doesn't mean to say that product should be lacking in quality and rigour.
Absolutely.
So we're doing all of those things. So Chelsea's going through that process at the moment, mopping her feverish brow over it.
Yes, very much. Yeah. But it's amazing though, and I find I'm so glad that I've had you to work through as we've been building these courses and building this pathway and trying to bridge that gap, because I need to make sure that we are hitting all those competencies that are so important and required within project controls, especially so much because AI isn't one of them.
Yes.
Yet. Without that, how would we?
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah.
But it's amazing it's been so powerful for me to work with you and with CaSA across all these courses to make sure that we're building a quality product and something that is actually going to help people grow.
You know, don't you, if you want to go and apply to do a course, you want to have that stamp that what I'm paying for and what your organisations are paying for also. Yeah. You've got to create that business case, haven't you, to release you for 2 days, 3 days, whatever it may be, and the money to do that. So what are we doing to close that gap? And I think this is where we've got a real opportunity here. So, hands up if you are aware of the CaSA individual competency matrix. Brilliant, that's half. I'll take that as a win for nearly 4 o'clock on day 2 of the conference. So we relaunched in summer last year a competency matrix that we hadn't really had in place before that supports individual accreditation. For those of you that were here yesterday, we talked about what that looks like. And that individual competency matrix is based around 19 core competencies. They need to be quite generic because we are industry sector agnostic as a professional body, as we should be. So AI, whilst not specific, data literacy, whilst not specific, is embedded into a lot of those competencies. You can bring it out in anything, but it's not explicit at the moment. And we did debate whether we should do that last year. We did have discussions. And we felt at the time that it may be putting too much onus on people to be able to do that, prove that competency, that could be actually a detriment because the literacy element isn't there, the awareness potentially could be lacking. But I think we're at a point where we can review that. Alongside the individual competency matrix, which is based upon the National Occupational Standards for Project Controls and the BSI for Project Controls, it's linked to those industry standards, we are involved in groups that review qualifications, external qualifications. So we work very, very closely with the ECITB. Currently, they've just kicked off a review of the Level 3 diploma in project controls, practice and techniques. So we have the opportunity as an industry to bring in some of these aspects. So for those of you that aren't aware, all the ECITB project controls products, whether that be the National Occupational Standards, the diplomas and the apprenticeship standards at both Level 3 and Level 6, are built by a group of employers, training providers, and other people that can get involved, get stuck in, to make sure that they reflect what industry needs. So we've got that opportunity, that is going now. I sit on that from a CaSA point of view, and I'd be really keen to know what people's views are. Do we think that when they're that diploma, there should be explicit reference to being able to demonstrate competency or safety using AI tools? Put it out there, what do you think?
Yes.
Yes? Do you think there's any risks that people wouldn't be able to achieve that and therefore wouldn't be able to achieve their diploma? Yeah? Yeah, this moment in time. Yeah. And that's the delicate balance that we're trying to find. How do we weave something that is not going to go away, and nor should it, it's a really good thing to do, but how do we make sure that we don't disadvantage people because of the challenges that we're facing?
But is it highlight differences between Gen AI and adaptive AI?
No, it doesn't touch AI explicitly at all. It's a vocational qualification that kind of takes you through the project life cycle, essentially, and you demonstrate your skills in estimating and what have you, coding structures. So there's an opportunity to kind of bring everything in to it. It's just not explicit. Yeah.
I'm not worried about Gen AI.
But that's the opportunity, isn't it? You know, so it would be really good if you could contact me with your views at ACOSD, because I can take that back to the group. It's not just my personal opinion, it is just that ability to, should we include that in our standards?
It's actually a conversation I had with the ICTB as well earlier today about including AI as a core competency, and I think it's an important conversation to have now, because we do need to be thinking about it.
Absolutely, yes.
The need to get motivation to it.
Yeah, it's a balance, isn't it?
I think the issue is,
Yes.
and therefore it's putting it in too early. It's not being valued.
Yeah.
I think there's a point in time where it should become a
Yeah.
competency.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things, isn't it? So I think we're on a 7-year cycle with this. The last time this product was reviewed was 7 years ago, which feels like a lifetime, doesn't it, Nigel? Sat in those rooms in Costaines in Manchester going through it all. Hey, Stephen.
Sure. I think we need to be careful we don't lose human expertise.
Yes.
And we don't sub it work out
Yes.
to an AI and we lose all
Yeah.
the work.
But that's the point as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So we can't, because some CEOs will think like this, so well, why hire people when we can just give it to an AI?
Yeah.
And lose project controls expertise. And
Yeah.
It fails in 2 days. It's like,
Yeah. So that's how it then gets included. Is it about a competence in data literacy rather than actually the application of it?
That's the end point for AI. Predictability is what's the word? Oh.
We'll forgive you. It is nearly 4 o'clock on day 2. We won't sit here and prolong your agony.
Yeah, it's like the predictability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Effects is happening, what's why, but
Yeah.
doing the AI should be able to.
That's because we've blindsided them.
I'm
with the
blaming
quality
James's
of this,
whiskey.
isn't it?
Predictive analysis. We need to get the
Yeah.
data, we need to set data standards and stuff like that, and it would start
Yeah.
out with the younger generation
Yes.
for standardisation in our planning, our
Yeah.
estimate and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That enables predictive analysis in the future. We feel,
Yeah.
you know, we're only scratching the surface.
Yeah, yeah.
We've got massive LFA databases, that's stacking
Yeah.
drawers and stuff like that. Projects go through the same issues,
Yeah.
risks. I've seen them all with some of my ex-colleagues and stuff like that about risk registers, and we've
Yeah.
been in there and we've seen these risks all the time. How good would it be to ask an AI, or it could predict
Yeah.
when a risk is going to come to fruition and give you an indication?
Yeah.
You know, these are the exciting things.
It's how you word those things into, you know,
the start.
Yeah.
And we can have a conversation about this.
I think that would be really helpful. You could even join the group, you know. There is opportunity. It's not an exclusive club. I think the ECITB do open it out to anybody these days. But yeah, I think that'd be good. And you know, joking aside, it's really important because we need to get that balance. This is about what industry wants, and we need to have that range of viewpoints. You know, this qualification will not be rewritten overnight. It will be a lengthy process, I suspect, over the next 12 months. Yeah. So we have that opportunity. What's things, isn't there?
And what's difficult is it takes time to get that standardisation across industries, which again is why Movar Apply have built the pathway to help, because we need it now. We need that literacy now.
But some really good insights there, I think, about, you know, competencies and how we can introduce kind of data literacy as well as kind of the AI literacy, more prescriptive, but without alienating or putting people at a disadvantage to achieve accreditation qualifications at this moment in time. The other opportunity that everybody has is to support the COP, the digital COP that's run. Dale, I think you're involved in that, aren't you? Yeah, so there is a digital COP for CaSA. Again, that'll be a really good connecting point for me, taking stuff back to qualifications to connect with the COPs about what actually are you talking about. So there is a LinkedIn group to join. Go and join that group. Get involved in that conversation. Air your worries, concerns, fears, joy, aspirations, whatever it may be, to have that conversation, because you know, we've got an opportunity to be dealing with this now, whether it looks like data literacy, AI literacy, what it looks like now, to maybe when we do the qualification again in another 7 years' time, there'll be another iteration of that, but we need to make sure we're including it at this point at an appropriate level. So I think we've discussed that, and bang on 4 o'clock for us.
The opportunity.
Yes. Yeah.
Just as a requirement.
Yeah. Yeah.
So hopefully-
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
The opportunity in AI is massive, and it's real, and it's here, and it's there. It's literacy that makes it possible. If you do want to talk about what AI capabilities should look like in project controls, or if you want to talk through the digital controls pathway that we have, feel free to reach out to me at any point. My details are there on the screen, and you can also find them on the Eventify app. But yeah, let's find out where you should start.
Hey, Diego.
Hiya.
Yes, something we've done with clients just to also help them think of this as an opportunity rather than a challenge or a threat.
Yeah.
It's, think about safety when it was back in the days not a standard, and things now are like safety first. We're telling them, let's start thinking about data digital secure mindset as a principle. So that is kind of the way we are saying, if you're getting ready with those principles in your head, it's going to help you then.
I like that.
Prepare and aware of what's going to come next.
Like those behavioural-based safety principles that we had, but how you can use the principle of that. We do that in risk a little bit with behavioural, like risk culture and stuff, don't we? It's no different to actually then how we can do that. So I think it's a really good analogy to think about.
And they take the box for quickly, but we know that infrastructure.
Yeah,
and
it's cultural.
Safety is on first.
Yeah. Can we have one more question, Andrew? Will you let us have one more question? Thank you.
Go ahead.
Find AI as a tool, or just because do you with other an IA sits as a tool within it, so you can't necessarily, if you by theory possibility, can't necessarily prescribe to. You can set objectives that AI can't.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Yeah. From a qualification point of view, it has to be tool agnostic, because we're looking at a lot of kind of things. So I kind of get your point. Exactly. But I think it's about how you may word the knowledge and the skills required in that diploma to extract that data literacy. And maybe we don't call it AI. Maybe we call it something like data literacy or understanding. I think the world is our oyster to some extent with this. So it's good to kind of hear everyone's thoughts on it.
Just to add to that, I think tool is too defined. And
This is the,
the challenge is that whilst it's software, it's not a software tool. I think of it more as a capability.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
we have to measure it, verify it, validate it, more akin to how we measure, validate human interactions, interacting with each other, because it's not a tool that you input something in, process, it comes out over there. There's a whole bunch of stuff that is far more akin to what we do as human beings when it comes to artificial intelligence, because all it is, it's a human-made ability to make judgment or reason.
Yeah.
In which case it then becomes a discipline or a capability, so it doesn't sit in data management systems.
Yes. And that's the debate we need to have.
This is great to have this open discussion because us as a community have to understand where it is and move forward together. So I really appreciate the conversation. Yeah,
I think it's really important, like I said, to take that back to the likes of the ECITB, because we do have the, it's not power, but we can really influence what these qualifications, industry can influence what these qualifications look like, the language that's used, how it's described, how it's defined, in that as well, which I think would be really helpful. So thank you.
Got it. An AI's endpoint is to be as intelligent as a human. So, like I said, like no one's really paying for like obviously what's happening in the background comes to the processing and everything, but we're asking it questions that they need to do stuff. In some ways, we're almost creating a human. So I do agree. Maybe is it probably is that discipline area as the tool, but obviously it's like we're not there yet.
For me, it's such a small percentage of the population that's using AI. They're using it till its full potential.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing. And then obviously talking about what we're talking about there is like the AGI. All this becomes irrelevant because the AGI is you can do human tasks and stuff. You can think for itself and stuff like that. It's a totally different thing.
I do wish we had. Isn't it?
I wish we had all the time in the world for these conversations. I'm so glad we've got the conversation started.
And that's really important. So please engage either directly with Movar, engage with the COP from CaSA. Contact me if you've got anything that you would like to discuss, have raised. I can be contacted at Controls and Skills on LinkedIn, via the general email address, via the Controls and Skills website as well. So, but thank you very much. I know we have run over a little bit now. There is the final bits going on in the main room. But,
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.